Hello and welcome to the Labyrinth of Limitations. This is continuing the Little Labyrinth series, and we're going to look at more dyads and making independent lines, two independent lines out of using dyads. So it's a counterpoint exercise, which can be really beautiful when combined with other things. So that was just moving on G minor 6, and then so I did a little bit of D7 against that. So just kind of exploring these things. So what we need, what I'm using there when I'm making a little bit more motion, is I am getting to octaves and to tenths. So we've learned thirds, and we've learned sixths, and then we've learned that was a fifth connecting, right? Right, that connecting to a third, a sixth to a fifth to a third, like I talked in the last episode. That was third, fifth, out to sixth. Now look at this. It's an octave and then a tenth. This is a tenth within the scale. See, I'll go backwards now. So I did tenth, octave, sixth, sixth. So that's the elevator as it continues out. So it goes, you know, third out to fifth, out to sixth, out to octave, out to tenth. Imperfect consonants are perfect consonants, the way I think of it in a generalized sense. And then in from third is unison. So when practicing your octaves, I recommend not just going up, you know, or like on up the strings with, you know, the various octave shapes. There's this, there's this. So there's mainly two main shapes. So one where you reach backwards and one where you reach forward. Okay, but so you get familiar with those, and then stay in position and do a finger independence exercise where, see, I'm going to keep this top note as my pinky is still down on this. I could play like that. I do it that way. I was going to do it just like this, but I like that where you hit the note again. So you go. That's really cool sounding, but also just keeping those notes down. Spider crawling around from note to note as you hold down one and move the other one. Same thing with tenths. So I'll just look at those now. So, right. Well, I'm missing one. Tenths, doing them in any position, you know, anywhere. So, right, whoops, right, on, up, everywhere. Those are pretty sounding stuff. So anyway, I love those. Now we want to talk about connecting them then. So I'm on a sixth. Maybe I came from a third to fifth, the sixth. Now what do? I go out to an octave, out to a tenth, and then back to an octave. So that's the idea. I can move up my tenth some, and then I'll go backwards. So there's a sixth, octave, tenth, octave, sixth. So I can think of my bottom line maybe, and do a shape of an octave, and then do a shape of a tenth. You really start to just see the total scale as you do these more and more. See, whoops, see them, you know. What I do like this, and then it goes out from there, you know. And that's bigger intervals. And so now, speaking of what I just did there, is I recommend, in addition to doing, you know, the standard types of moves, just like, well, you go, you go 6, right, and you do it up the scale, right, right. Putting these together, so you could start to you could start to explore just moving between them, going from thirds on out, you know, and so you can do that was a chord, sorry, and then I go right, and then backwards, and I'll take the same path, and then right, and you could do that at any point. Then start to see these within your larger chords too is really useful. So I've been talking a lot in previous episodes of the larger episodes of taking a chord and taking like a drop 2 and just seeing that a third is in there so that you can do something like this. And that's what I'm doing, see? That's cool, you know. You see, you got to drop 2. See what I'm doing? All I'm doing is taking a drop 2, taking the middle voice, which is a third, moving out to a fifth, to a sixth, right? And then I got to do an octave, and then. But also, in addition to that, you can see these as you're moving around. I have a sixth here, and I know that this sixth has places it lives in, like say a drop 2. So what did I do there? I did something like, what I did there was I saw this 10th, and then I got a third inside there, and my drop 2 diminished. Now this 10th, maybe, I'll do the same game. This 10th has a drop 2 around it. Maybe I'll do a different game. Maybe I'll do a drop 2 and 4. And then maybe something like that. So these are kind of games. I'm just kind of, you know, improvising through these. So I recommend practicing your octaves, practicing your tenths, and then just doing 6, octave 6, 6, octaves 10th at every place in the scale, doing 3rd, 5th, 6th, octave 10th, just kind of permutating, trying the different permutations. We'll talk more about some other things that we can do with this, but there's a lot just right there worth discovering. So another short episode, just going over this stuff and trying to share with you some of the smaller ideas. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep practicing.